Fabrice Canel from Microsoft Bing was the much anticipated keynote speaker on day 2. And with so much chat about AI and ChatGPT going on, it was a packed room with an audience keen to hear what was happening with Microsoft Bing and the integration with ChatGPT and Bing together. In my catch-up with Fabrice, I mentioned that I've talked a lot over the years about the constant issues with crawling the web and the battle to keep the index as fresh as a daisy while bringing in new content. And of course, Fabrice was keen to talk about IndexNow and how to use your URLs to notify when your content has changed, to keep it current in the index, and also ensure that the very latest information is available to the Bing chatbot for the freshest results. So let's just jump right in with Fabrice. Fabrice, you are a keynote speaker here on day 2. Thanks very much for joining me, by the way. That is a great honor. For the benefit of those people who will be seeing this after the event who didn't see your keynote this morning, do you want to just give us a quick high-level view of what it was that you were covering?
Absolutely. So first, I am from Microsoft Bing.
Yes, I should have, just in case you didn't know where Fabrice was from. 20-something years, I think.
26 years,
wow.
Search veteran at Microsoft. Very long time, very interesting. My passion is to get the whole internet indexed by Bing, only relevant content.
So before we do the session, then let's just do a little quick look at your career through Microsoft, because you've done quite a lot of things there. So how did you get to where you are now?
Absolutely. So I was hired as a developer and I did some internal application, but quickly I switched to online. I was in France, I was doing Microsoft.com France, and then quickly switched to the US, where I was the search lead PM for searching at Microsoft.com, the corporate website. That was the site number 5th on the internet, the top 5th site. So this was searching all Microsoft properties, which was very interesting in the early days of SEO, where this was search engine were basic and we were using internal technology. When MSN Search started to enable their search engine, I switched to that. And since day one of MSN Search, and I am in this team that became the live search team and then the big team. And I've got the same position to be responsible of indexing the whole internet.
So when you think about the history of search with Microsoft, they were a little bit late to the game. And I seem to remember, because I've been around in the industry for a long time, that there was a deal with Ink2Me, which was back in the day, so I think.
Yeah, absolutely. MSN Search was powered by Ink2Me in the early days until 2005, and then we switched to this internal technology that we keep improving since 2005. And now we are, many years later, can keep improving it.
Yeah, and the reason that came to mind is when I was listening to you in the keynote this morning, is that, and we're going to talk a bit more about IndexNow when we get to it. But back in the day, Ink2Me actually had this system where you could pay to be indexed, pay to have your content indexed, paid inclusion, I think it was called, and it kind of reminded me that IndexNow is a little bit like that, but you don't have to pay for it, you know?
It's free.
Here's our content, please come and crawl it.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end, the internet is free to use in terms of public internet, and so this says, yes, people can tell search engine, help search engine to find out what to index on their site, and IndexNow is a key in the strategy to help us indexing the content real time.
So I was just having another conversation. And that subject of IndexNow came up there, and again, it's not a new idea. You know, I spoke to a guy called Brian Pinkerton, as I mentioned, who was the inventor of Webcrawler, which was probably the first full text search engine out there, arguably. And we were having a conversation, and he was talking then about the overhead and how difficult it was crawling the web, because they had to crawl the same content over and over again just to see whether the content had changed, and that has kind of been the way that it's been ever since. But what we talked about then is he was saying that maybe that they would implement some kind of XML kind of feed where you could actually feed directly back to Webcrawler and say, we haven't changed, you don't need to crawl us. It was wide open to spam, of course, as well, so that didn't happen. So the idea has been around, so that the notion of crawling the web is still pretty difficult, yeah?
Yeah, this is extremely difficult, especially as the intent of a user have changed. My teenagers are expecting to see the latest content immediately indexing search engine.
Yeah.
This is not about last week news, it's about what's happening in the world right now. In order that they can chat about it, that they can speak about it to their friends. They don't care about yesterday content, they care about right now. To achieve right now, we need help from the website. So you spoke about XML, yeah, this is sitemaps. Sitemaps is kind of this daily listing of all relevant URL you have on the site. This is still a pull model where we are pulling to see the content has changed and we have to send HTTP requests. Did you change? And did you change? And did you change? And IndexNow is the ability for websites to tell us real time what changed on their site. An easy ping notification helping us to discover real time content that has changed on website. This is clearly a game changer. 20 million websites have already adopted. This is an open standard. Very key to have all search engines that are participating aware of all the things happening on the internet. And this is a standard that is growing. We will see more search engines adopting, and we will see also adoption from the backbone of the internet content management system. We just announced today that Wix plan to adopt IndexNow this calendar year, and we will see more announcements coming related to content management system and the top sites that have often non-specific content management system that are building on their own platform. They are also adopting. LinkedIn, eBay, and many others have adopted, helping us again to discover latest content change on the internet.
So that's kind of interesting because the first initiative similar to that was with Schema, and that took a little while, and then everybody's kind of bought into it. And we'll talk about structured data in a moment, but I guess so in IndexNow, how many search engines actually take that?
Yeah, absolutely. Today this is supported by Bing, Yandex, and Seznam, that is a Czech Republic search engine.
Yep.
And again, we will see two are committed to support it by June, two more, and they will announce this on their own time and terms. But we will see potentially a few more that are adopting this calendar year. And at the end, this is open for everybody to adopt, and we are speaking to a lot of people this day to have everybody adopting, because it's again a game changer that is helping to reflect quickly your content change in the search engine. And what is even more important is to lower the crawl volume on websites.
Exactly.
Clearly, we are over-crawling, unfortunately, websites, and IndexNow help us to dial down and to crawl far less website, especially as we are learning and tuning the tech to make sure that we are crawling efficiently websites.
So you may remember you actually dropped me a note. I wrote kind of reviewing the past 30 years of crawling the web, and I mentioned you and your team in that particular piece. But one of the things that became quite apparent that there have been changes since we first started crawling the web, but this notion of the politeness factor still exists, and it's so important to understand that, to prevent the Bing crawler or Google or whatever it is using up all of the bandwidth on your website, crawling the web, and the end user can't get in because...
Yeah, again, fundamentally we see that if you have a blog website, you don't blog right now because you're interviewing me. And so why I'm calling you right now to know if your content changed? You need to tell me.
Exactly.
I don't know. The AI has limitation, but I want your content in index, especially in the new chat experience. New content is very fresh and rewarded because people are looking for it. Whatever is happening in the world, whatever is happening with your latest blog, your latest press release, we want to be aware of it immediately. We don't want to wait, and you don't want to go to sleep thinking, will my press release be indexed? Okay, I need to check if my press release is indexed. No, you want to have your press release immediately indexed. And so this is this game changer about telling search engine what changed on the site in order that we can immediately index it. This is, you can sleep better as SEO, and when everybody is happy, the customer can find quickly the content, we crawl less. This is the perfect setup.
Could be a little tagline for you. If you're having difficulty sleeping, use IndexNow.
Yes, SEO should use IndexNow.
So
This is also not only added content, this is also update. Unfortunately, people are telling you, hey, you did a big typo on your title here. Oh, bad. And this is surfacing in search engine.
wow.
And you want to get this fix,
Yeah.
this content fixed quickly. Here is again ability to get things done quickly. You become in control of what is indexed in search engine. Clearly, we don't let spammer do that, but good people as you, your content update is welcome in search engine.
So yes, spam. There is a problem. That's a long conversation. So the other big news with Bing, of course, is everybody's talking about AI, LLM, large language models, ChatGPT. So there have been big changes at Bing. We've already seen that. Going forward, what can we expect to see? Is there anything that the SEO community needs to know to do a better job to help you at Bing with all of these changes?
Yeah, absolutely. So today I explain a little bit of this technology of way we are integrating it. We have the Prometheus model to really understand the queries of a user, to really understand what we benefit from the big index, including real-time content that we are able to surface in the chat experience, to satisfy the user intent of searching, often by chat. I explained that there is really two types of query. You have a navigational query where people are searching for YouTube. This is to go to YouTube for most of the queries. And then you have people that are starting to formulate a longer query and they don't know really what they want, but we will help them and guide them to the solution to their problem.
Yep.
And helping them at the end to transfer user to the website to finalize their information, knowledge and learning about the content. Again, what is important for SEO? First, it's a new experience. It's not released widely. This is just a preview that is a limited set of audience. So this is we are there to learn from the customer and we will tune it and optimize it as needed before broad release. Point number one. So don't expect any kind of really change for SEO from this standpoint. There's clicks is not really coming because there is so limited traffic so far on the Bing preview. Again, this is a preview, this is there to learn. What is important is, again, to have the right foundation blocks. Having an IndexNow, having sitemap, help solving the discovery of the internet, the selection of the best content on the internet, and the fetching, because it's really guiding the crawler to what I need to fetch, what I need to download.
To the freshest content
to
as
the
well.
freshest content and to the content that is added, updated, or deleted. You don't want dead links in the search results. So this is important. This is kind of checking the checkbox about, hey, yes, my content will be indexed, will be, the latest content will be there. So that you can focus on writing good quality content. You spoke about markup and schema. That is very important to help search engine AI technology to really deeply understand your content and to surface the most important content. Very important, think your content about your end customer. Satisfied customer. Don't try to satisfy Bing or Google or others.
It's all about the end user.
This is about the end user. This is about satisfying them, developing an authority about your site, developing an audience, developing information that is really key to help us understand that, yes, you are not a clone of Wikipedia or a clone of another site. You are something that is relevant, that customers love, not only through the search engine, but going to your site directly, loving your content, doing transaction of your site and all these things. This is helping your site to differentiate versus these other sites that can be clone of your sites or other sites on the internet. Very key, focus on your content, focus even more on your customer.
Yep. So one area that kind of had a little bit of attention and then it sort of disappeared for a while until last year, for whatever reason, it started resurfacing again. There's more attention on the AI and ChatGPT, but last year there was a lot of talk about how big AI, looking at the organic results, how it's becoming more visual, less textual, more visual. So there are certain elements that you can see in the results now which require, using outside of the browser, like access to the microphone, access to your camera, so that we can look at some three-dimensional things, that sort of thing with AR. How big do you think that's going to be? Do you think we should be starting to think more about creating these much richer experiences for the end user?
Yeah, so from the chat experience standpoint, this is early. This is something that we are pleased to, we are auditing what customers are doing with this complete new search experience. Today, people are exploring it, discovering it, using it in ways that may not be the way they use it in the future. So this is still tuning and learning. Experimenting. Yeah. We see people doing 2 hours, 4 hours session just to play with this query chat answers. Again, things are evolving. Things will be broader, communicative, and more adoption. So things will evolve, and so we are in the phase of learning. What will be the future? It's at the end, we care truly about satisfying your user and still satisfying the SEO community in terms of transferring traffic to sites. Very key, fundamental things for us. So I cannot reply about exactly what it will be. You spoke about voice and video. Yes, we enable also the ability to speak to the engine, such as providing a chat experience that is voice-based through Skype and on mobile. I encourage you to test and to join bing.com/new, where you can join the waitlist and be approved to be testing this new experience.
Bing.com/new.
Bing.com/new, yes.
So I kind of think, thinking about the future, what's happening now with these large language models, everything that people are talking about in terms of AI, I've always felt that, given that you've just sort of touched on that voice is the ultimate interface with you and whatever device it is, that instead of having to learn the interface to 1,000 websites or the interface to 100 apps, that just ask, just speak.
Yes, so I do truly believe in simplifying the interaction with user. So using a keyboard to type is lengthy, troublesome. I do misspelling all the time. And it's because I'm multitasking all the time. So yes, voice speaking is maybe more natural. It can be also, sometimes it's for accessibility. People, it can be facilitate communicating with the interface. I mean, people sometimes have accessibility issues, cannot this can be interfaces, or this can be other type of interfaces, such as visual recognition and leveraging that, which is clearly something that Microsoft is focusing on, accessibility and enabling this kind of interface. But voice is obviously something that many people.
It was a big deal a few years ago. People were talking voice search. It's all SEO is dead again. It's all voice search. But I think ultimately that interacting with devices purely by speaking to them is going to be the.
And it's really about not one interaction. This is this chat mode where you keep interacting with a system to retrieve and reformulate your query. Again, I spoke this morning about navigational intent. YouTube, you want to go to YouTube. Other type of queries, what are the events related to these conferences in the city, what are the sport events, and so on, and you keep iterating. You don't know really what you want, but the engine will help you to navigate the content, including the recent content, to guide you to the most relevant content you want.
Which brings me to the conclusion that if you knew exactly what you wanted, you wouldn't need a search engine anymore.
Yes, you need a search engine at the end to help you, to satisfy you. If you know that you want to go to YouTube, yes, you type YouTube. But we see people doing a lot of YouTube query in search engine. And so people, yes, want to go to YouTube from the search engine standpoint. Maybe they don't know that it's youtube.com. Yes, so we are here to remind them, hey, this is youtube.com.
A long time ago, I remember somebody telling me one of the top queries in Bing was Google.
It depends on the experience may be different for all user, and the intent may be different for all user, yes.
Fabrice, it's been great speaking to you. Thank you. It was a great keynote this morning, by the way. Thank you very much for that.
Much.
And thanks for taking the time to do this. And look forward to seeing you at the next conference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for interviewing me.
Thank you again to Fabrice for sharing his time for a chat and getting us all up to speed with the exciting stuff going on with IndexNow and ChatGPT at Bing. And it's up and ready for you to test and play around with right now. As Fabrice said, just go to the URL bing.com/new and you can dive right in.